Welcome back to Cage Chronicles. Here with Kevin James. How we doing, guys?
Doing good, thank you. How are you doing, Steve?
G'day, guys.
Yeah. I've got a little bit of a technical issue with the dog.
So, is that a technical issue?
It's sort of a technical issue of a puppy trying to run around while we're doing this, but so we have to stop and start. That's what it is. How are you guys going?
Good.
Yeah.
Little bit of work and training today, not too bad. I feel like you guys were a bit more busy coaching today. You, James, you finished coaching 5:30.
Yeah, I finished at 6:30.
Okay, he's ready to go. He's ready to go.
What did you get up to today, Steve?
Oh, just bits and pieces, teaching, whatever.
Nice.
Yeah, pretty good. We've got quite a few things coming up today, coming up in the next few weeks. You got your fight coming up in 3 weeks, Eternal?
I do.
How are you feeling about that?
And Ren, my fiance.
Yourself, Ren, Luke, and James.
Yeah.
So there's a few on the card. So that
Not me. James Wong.
James
Yeah.
Wong, yeah.
Robin looked
In
at
case
me.
anyone got confused
Yeah.
on that one.
Not me.
But yeah, not feeling good. Like, what are we, 3 weeks out? Smashing training in the gym, good intensity. Obviously got Ross over, which is just awesome to bring into the energy in the gym is just insane.
Yeah.
Everyone's picking each other's brains. Just I'm loving it. Everyone's switched on. And yeah, feeling fit, feeling good. Very, very exciting time as well because of how much we actually have on in the next handful of weeks. It just feels like it's just going to be mental.
Yeah.
So we're just ready to go roaring.
Everyone just seems to be in fight camp at the moment. We've got Eternal, Hex, Eternal and Gold Coast.
Yeah.
Then we've got some of the other ones we can talk about once they get fully released and stuff. So yeah, busy. And then we've got the Alter training program at the gym as well.
Yeah, and that's still going. That's going really well. That's close to the.
Close to the end. We managed to get it on Domination, which is amazing.
That's fantastic.
So it's just now the task of matching up these athletes with each other and trying to make it.
How does that work? The matchup process for everyone, because not everyone has to fight. It's a choice. Hey,
it's a choice. Yeah. So then some people think they want to fight at the beginning, and then they might get into more harder training with the sparring, and then realize, oh shit, I don't want to do this. Or other people might have the thought of not fighting and then change their mind as well. But it's a little bit hard with the one group, trying to match them. So we'll do the best we possibly can to get them going. But everyone's doing good because you're doing the Friday grappling with them.
Yeah.
So everyone's doing really good and picking up pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm actually interested in that for the Alta group. What do your sessions look like on a Friday for the grappling?
It was a lot of for the first sort of 5 weeks, it was a lot of fundamentals. And obviously they focus more on just grappling towards MMA.
Yeah.
More universal submissions, things like Kimuras and stuff that you can get from a few places.
Yeah.
So you don't have to learn not trying to teach multiple different submissions in that
Short
20
space of
weeks. Yeah, because you need to learn these submissions, see where you can get them from, learn them good enough to be able to do them, that they're in the memory bank, and then also be putting everything else together as well. The grappling, they need to do the striking, the wrestling, they need to put it all together and then find time to roll and strike on the ground. So you're just kind of compacting it, I think. Obviously jiu-jitsu is it doesn't end. So it's you're just trying to really bring it into the most common positions that are going to occur, I think, and then so they can have quite a good understanding of those common spots, a top side
fundamentals, isn't it? The basic fundamentals and positions. Yeah, you're not going to learn everything. I mean, how long we're doing jiu-jitsu for now, and you're still learning new stuff.
Yeah, because you've got 20 weeks, hey.
Yeah.
That's why I was saying those little books Crash Jiu-Jitsu for Dummies or anything that. You got 20 weeks. I find it very interesting the training regime to go from beginner, never done it before, complete fundamental. And then, how do you cram all of that technique, all of that hours on the mat of learning in a 20-week course for someone to feel somewhat confident to jump in? I still think it's amazing. I think it's an awesome thing to do.
What it is that everyone's starting, hopefully, at the same spot.
Yeah.
So everyone's starting from I haven't done anything before, I've got very basic knowledge. So therefore, everyone's going to get to that stage of their ability. To compete. So again, the first time we've done it, so I'm not sure how it pans out, but it's pretty fun to teach.
No, definitely. I only took like one class for it, and I thought it was really cool. Just even the whole style of it, the fact that kind of like they have that opportunity to fight, gives like a good direction and a motivation. Like for okay, we're gonna teach this for this purpose and go this direction. It's very, very cool to work with that group. And good commitment from them as well. I mean, it's 6 a.m. classes.
Yeah, Monday. I think they used to have it every day, like 5 a.m. So it's 6 a.m. classes every day, 5 days a week. But then like you had a drop off rate from that. So I think it's three times a week now that they're doing it. I think they still do a 5 day a week some places, but we do the 3 day a week, and that's enough to get in there. And then obviously if they miss sessions because they're working certain shifts, then I'll let them come into the Wolves Den classes and do the fundamentals classes there as well. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
And that's been cool as well, actually, on that one, because I've had a couple guys jump into the MMA fundamentals class that I've never met before. Obviously, like first time I've seen them in the gym, and to do MMA as a first class is like a lot because you're mixing. It's where you mix everything. It's not where you like learn everything individually. But a couple guys were from the Alta. And they missed whatever the 6 a.m. class that they couldn't get to because of work. But then they jumped in the class, found out they were in the Alta, and was like, oh, okay, cool, easy, jump in. And they picked it up really, really well. It was really cool to see someone that I hadn't met before that actually hadn't done much and then hopped into my MMA fundamental class and picked it up really good from like a couple of weeks of an Alta course, which is like really, really cool. So that'll be exciting to watch.
That's cool, yeah. So glad we got on an event, so we managed to get on the domination, which is amazing. But the first one coming up is your fight.
Yes.
Ren's fight, James and Luke. So for yourself, how's your preparation going? 3 weeks left to go. Do you think you're getting to that stage where you're feeling confident with your fitness, with your striking, with your grappling, everything else?
I feel really, really good, really excited. I think the biggest thing for this this whole experience, this fight camp, has just been how much I've enjoyed it. I've missed it so much. I've missed the intensity. I've missed MMA because of injuries. Doing the boxing and stuff, it's great, but it's not me. I love the fact that it's MMA. I feel fit. I feel strong. I feel sharp. Everyone seems to be in fight camp in the gym. I feel like the gym is just full of killers at the minute. So I feel like iron sharpens iron. We're all ready to go. And it's just a really exciting couple of weeks. Like ready to go for that card. Want to obviously get a win. If that happens, that's amazing. That'll protect me for the Eternal card just before UFC in August. Want to get on that one. I'm really coming for it now. I feel like there's been a lot of time, either injuries or just in isolation, trying to like get the path right and figure out which way are we going to go. But now, the past couple of weeks has just been like guns blazing, and it's just really, really cool. It's about to be mayhem, I reckon.
James was jumping in there as well. Helping the guys getting prepped.
I was thinking about this actually. I think it was this morning, but I was when I'm helping with these guys, and one thing that goes through my head a lot of the time is just like, don't hurt them. You know, like I was thinking.
That's so thoughtful, James.
Yeah, I'm just like, well, when I was like helping you on Wednesday night, and we're doing those rounds, and I'm like, all it takes is for me to like try and take you down off the wall or something. Just something goes funny and I like land and twist you or land on your leg or something, and then that I would feel absolutely devastated. But it's like
I always found when I try not to hurt someone, I hurt them. It's when you try not to.
I'm going like everything's cool. Like I feel confident now. I'm not going to hurt anyone, but it's just like it's in my mind the whole time. Like just you know, like I sometimes I wonder like is everyone thinking like that, or is it you get to a certain level where I can now give you what you need, but I can also keep you safe.
It's an experience thing. Like you'd be able to do that very well as a coach. Like I'm just thinking, you were my partner the other day. I didn't even realize that you were thinking about my well-being.
It's going easy on you.
I'm a little bit offended now that you're saying that. 'Cause I'm like, I was like, get off of me. I was like, oh, do you know, like 2 rounds in, 3 rounds in, wrecked. And you were going great. I think having an awareness, obviously because you're fighting, you don't want to injure them, but like it was still great intensity. Like it's really, really good.
I just find that like whenever someone's got a fight coming up, I'm just always like aware of that. Whereas like I'm just wondering if that's like some people don't think like that. Like maybe you're like, oh, you know, you say to someone, I'll go with this fight or whatever, and then in their mind they're like, oh, I'm just gonna try and.
I think experienced guys who have fought before it wouldn't be in their mind at all. Like they're not going to go, I'll see how I go with this guy. I think they're going to just try and help, especially if they've got experience. Yeah. That's why it's getting the right kind of people to do it. I mean, I've injured someone before sparring, and it wasn't even my fault. Like basically, I was sparring with a lad in the ring, and it was 2 weeks out, and he started throwing shots, and I just put my arms up like this, and I was just shielded. But because he was a bit shorter, went into my elbow, cut his eye. So yeah, I was like, and I felt devastated, but like it was just a random.
Even
because everyone's trying to go hard, but then how do you do it without?
It's a fine line. Even who did I spar and prep for the boxing that came down to the gym?
Oh, with Richard.
Richard, thank you. Yeah, we were just both fighting, having good sparring rounds. So obviously the intent is there.
Yeah,
and then. In close, I think it was like a headbutt or something, a little gash. I ended up like cutting him a little bit, and we were like a couple of weeks from the fight. Yeah. Luckily, like it wasn't major. I got it sorted out and everything. Hopped in and had the fight. Ended up winning his fight as well, which was really cool.
The first round or something.
Yeah, he like smashed it, but it just happens. It's like a fine line between trying to push and get that extra bit out of your partner, but then it's like it can be a little bit. You're trying to keep it as controlled as possible.
Yeah,
but you got a lot of force happening in different.
That's all I think. I'm like, you're just trying to. Yeah, keep it as controlled as possible because it's like, obviously, I just think like it's not about me, it's about you. Like you're the one fighting, so it's everything's got to be like on your best interest. You know,
the more natural I find, like Steve was saying, if you like thinking about it too much, the more natural I just like behave if I'm doing that. It actually turns out fine.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think. Yeah, if you think about it and you'd be like, I don't know, some of your movements are actually a bit awkward and unnatural, and that's when weird things happen, I find.
I think anyone can move the knee the wrong way, turn the head, like hit the wrong way or whatever, but it's just going to happen. It's like a lot of times fights have been pulled because of things like that, but if you just think, well, okay, I'm trying to look after him, but I want to really push him, that's the best way to go about it, you know? Yeah, because we've got your fights there. That's going to be a big event. That's going to be a big night. Then we've got Moses on Hex. He's got his pro debut.
That's awesome.
Which is going to be like good. He's been training hard, looking sharp.
Yeah.
Then we go to the next Eternal. We've got Ryan on his pro debut.
Yeah.
Against a really tough lad. And then we've got Jesse as well, who has gone up to bantamweight because he's been back down to flyweight.
Yeah.
He's doing the bantamweight on the amateur for this one. Bit of a harder test, bit of a bigger test for him. So I think it's going to be great. Great for 3 weeks.
Fantastic last performance. It'll be really cool to see him up.
Then we've got Shay in Albany as well before all that.
Yeah.
So we got that in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we're down there where she's got back in the ring for Muay Thai. So
what show is that?
It's Nemesis down in Albany. Yeah.
She's been smashing it as well.
Yeah.
She can see she's been very hungry for a while to get back and everything. It's awesome.
Yeah, so it's gonna be amazing.
Into the gym, little one in the gym watching her hit.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah.
And then also we've got a special guest today. We've got Ross Pearson, the big guy,
the real deal.
Yeah, the real deal. We've got him, UFC legend, veteran. He's been teaching at the gym. Managed to get him over for like in about 9 or 10 days. Teaching. I think the vibe's just been like so good since he's been over here. And we'll have a little chat with him in a second.
Awesome.
So we'll take a little break and then we'll get him on. All right, we're back in. So we're here with Ross, just trying to figure his headphones out. How are we doing?
I'm good, thanks.
Second time back with us in Perth. Obviously, you've been at Perth a heap of times, but second time at the Wolves Den. How are you enjoying it at the Wolves Den now?
Good. I love being here. It's kind of like feels like a home away from a home. Made great friends here. It's a great gym, great friendly atmosphere. A lot of good kids that just want to train, want to do it, and yeah, it's a pleasure being here.
Well, it's awesome having you in the gym anyway. Like, obviously, flipping watching on TV growing up and everything, but having you like run us through sessions and everything a couple weeks out from a fight is like absolutely insane as well.
I thought with the timing, like if we can get you in now, where it's like just a few weeks out from the fights, everyone's coming in fight camp. It'll just give that extra buzz, that experience that you've got from like the 1,000 fights you've had. So yeah,
I've had a few.
yeah. I mean,
I've got 7 guys back home in my gym, getting ready also. And coming out here and I'm still young as a coach. I'm still trying to better myself. I'm still trying to learn my trade. I learned my trade as a fighter, and then I'm still trying now to get better as a coaching aspect of what I need to do for myself to make the next generation better.
Yeah.
On that, I've actually just got a question. So, compared to how you used to train, as like just your own training regimen when you were fighting, compared to now the coaching style that you want to like adopt for your fighters, are they similar? Do you get your fighters to train on like how you trained, or did you actually change a lot from like what's the modern style like? Training regime.
I've got outside eyes on now as a coach. I've got outside eyes on all the guys around you, and you can see from the outside kind of like who's overtraining, who needs a day's rest, who's not training, who needs to kick up the arse. You got that outside look when you're in fighting and training. You don't have that outside eye. You're just worried about your own shit. You're only worried about your own fight. So I didn't have someone telling us don't train anymore or sit down and relax. It was always go, go, go. You gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta do this. You gotta go. So kind of, I know like what it takes to reach the levels. I know what the output is, but also again, I know from some of the mistakes that I've made of like leaving it in the gym. I've definitely got a better outside view to now go, look, you need a day or two rest. Especially when it's like big days or big sessions, you'd be like, and you've got it all like now I plan everything in my head way better. Like when I was in the mix just fighting, all I cared about was who am I sparring, what am I doing, where am I going to go, training, right, get this fight, do this fight. That's all that I worried about. Then now I'm kind of like, I'm way more like attentive to guess everyone's needs.
But what would like if you see a fighter that you're like, oh, like smashing it out, big heavy training sessions, and you think, oh, you probably need a rest, I reckon, or take some recovery. Like what does that actually look like from your perspective now? Like, because even as a fighter, I'm training for this fight, I'm struggling with I'm really fatigued, I'm sore, I'm starting to have, like, I feel a little bit scat, like I'm making silly mistakes in either sparring or just forgetting the combos, starting to burn out a little bit. I go, oh, am I being a wuss, like, if I don't want to train tonight? Or should I, like, still be there and try to take something technically? Or what's recovery look like?
I mean, recovery is the secret weapon. Recovery is the secret weapon, so you can get back to the next session fitter, faster, healthier, to put more instead of wasting a session on I feel like shit. Do you know what I mean? But like, what is a recovery session like? It could be ice bath, sauna, stretch, yoga, massage, treatment, a nap.
Could be even just a rest for a day, isn't it?
Sort of thing. Just take the day off, take tomorrow off from training completely. Depending on the situation of like where you are, every fight is so different. Every fight is some undertrained but perform better. Some overtrain and perform shit. Some guys are just like train hard, fight hard. Do you know what I mean? Just everyone's different. I
think the old school mentality. I mean, I always take the piss with Kev later saying, "What are you doing? Why are you not training?" That, but he knows I'm joking because like the old school where I used to train, which is not too far away from where I used to train in England. Like, it was like your coach would be like, you need you in every day, don't care what you're feeling like, you keep going. Then I would train really hard and I'd end up getting sick just before a fight or something like that. And I wasn't taking any recovery at all. But I think it's a little bit smarter this now, you know what I mean? You still got to put the effort in, and everyone's very different. Because I've got like you will over there, guys who you want to say, it's like, get out the gym, like you're doing too much. And other guys like, where you at? you're supposed to be fighting. Like you're not even training hard enough, you know. So it's all these different personalities you've got to deal with.
The science behind what it takes to get in the cage and fighting is evolving and getting better. The science of what the training looks like, the schedules, the plan, the science of how you do it is getting better. But like the fundamental basics of being a fighter, that'll never change.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's who you are, and it doesn't, and like break it all down. You could have the best training camp in the world and then fight like shit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It's what turns up on them.
And that's often worse because like you have the best training camp, everything's gone right, and then you still like don't perform, and then you're like, what went wrong? But it could be so many different things. Your mindset could be something.
Your mentality comes into it a lot. I've seen when you're chatting about like the science of it. Sports science was showing. I was just looking at a cool article the other day. Getting like footy players, like rugby players, as soon as they finished their hour session on the pitch, it's like get off your feet straight away into the Normatec recovery boots, like into the stuff, and it's like how that's so different compared to back in the day. They would finish the training, stay out on the pitch, do a half hour of like kicks, half hour of passes, keep practicing. It's like you're saving your body like physically maybe like to perform really well, but what about the mental fortitude? What about the mental toughness? So I think it is very individual, like what gets you to that point where you know in yourself that you're like where you need to be fighting because no one else is going to do it for you type thing.
100%. It's definitely all down to you. Like I feel like the physical part of fighting is the training camp. The physical part is doing the shit you don't want to do, doing the conditioning, doing the jiu-jitsu, doing the wrestling, doing the sparring rounds, doing the session after session after session when you don't want to do them things. And then on the night, it's all mental. Yeah. Like your body's physically ready, and on the night, it's just who turns up. Like
how did you deal with the nerves on the night? Did you guys got really nervous or not really?
Sometimes I wouldn't say the nerves like the nerves got the better of us, but sometimes excitement got the better of us. Like I was like sometimes I was over keen, over excited to go out there and get that knockout, get that finish. Do you know what I mean? And then spoil myself sometimes.
So without making it just go too fast from what you should be doing?
Rushing too much. Like just, do you know what I mean? Just I feel like I'm aging like nice wine. Do you know what I mean? I'm mellowing out a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Just and so, like guys like Kev, like seeing guys like young kids who's coming up and seeing like part of yourself and the mistakes that I've made. Yeah. And that's that's the stuff why I enjoy, like what I could pass on. It might not even be a technical thing. It might not even be a skill. It might not even be. It's just a couple of advice words where like it sinks in and it goes like, fuck. And then I just think like, damn, I wish I had that. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe I did and I didn't fucking listen. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Like, fuck, I wish I listened back then.
When we had that hard session the other day, which was like the pads and the wall work and the Shark Tank one, it's just a bit of everything. Yeah. And then you stopped halfway and gave like the speech from Any Given Sunday, and everyone was like, "I want to fight right now."
I wish you.
I can't. I'm not. I don't make that up. That's real. Yeah, do you know what I mean? That just happened.
On the spot.
On the spot. Didn't think, like I didn't plan that to happen. And I do it all the time in the gym too, especially after like it's the energy. Because the thing about fighting is you can't lie in fighting. It's only the truth. And if you pretend you've got good jiu-jitsu, shows up. Pretend you've got good conditioning, it shows up. Pretend you got whatever. You can't fake in fighting. The truth comes out. Yeah. And then the sessions like that, when the energy's so high and everything's been left there, that's just the truth.
And I found like it was amazing. Remember you said that you like...
I don't remember anything I said. Honestly, I don't. Like I said, I didn't plan it. I did.
So a minute ago you were saying about being like that eye, like on the outside of things, being able to see like, oh, you're training too much, you're not doing this, doing that. As a fighter, I was being like Shark Tanked, and so I went through the whole thing. It was terrible. Like, everyone's shouting at you, more power. Like, is that all you got? Like, you're giving everything.
James went easy on you, so
Yeah, I did. We've already worked this out. So
apparently went so easy, and finished, and it's like it was really hard for me to be really happy because I'm very achievement focused. So I'm very much like, oh, I won that round, or I don't feel tired, so I'm doing good. Like, I'm on top of it in control. But I was so super tired, super fatigued, and at that point you get really sensitive and like really low as a fighter. But then for you to provide like insight from outside of like what I'm experiencing emotionally, and then with all the depth of experience from your career as well, like you said, you didn't fake it. It was just straight truth. It was passion. It was the energy. That's like exactly what I needed to hear, because I was almost like kicking myself as if I didn't do a good job. And then when you like put it into perspective,
I could see like when everyone performed so well and everyone pushed and gave 100% and everyone got through it, but that's what them sessions are designed for. They're designed to try to break you. They're designed to try to tell you that you can't go anymore, because you're not designed to win them things.
Yeah.
If you're winning them rounds, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
And it's the best for like mental preparation, because if you know you can have 5 guys beat you up and you still get through it, what's one guy going to do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and that comes down to the like having the right training partners, having the right team that can beat you up properly.
Yes.
And you walk out the gym and you'll be like, that was mad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you learn from them. Like it's like how you get good at fighting is you take an ass kicking for so long, and you realize I do this, and then you win.
Yeah.
That's how you get good at fighting. You just keep making that mistake so many times, and then you learn not to make that mistake. Yeah. And you're like, wait, if I just done that in the beginning, I would have been. And that's it. It's the people that can't get over the fact that they can't win.
Yeah.
People come in the gym all the time. New guys in the gym all the time. New guys in the gym, and in their head, I'll just win.
Yeah.
But it's not like that. You gotta lose first. You gotta be beaten down. You gotta be broken. You gotta be can't do anything, and then you realize you learn the skills.
And that's what you learn. Yeah.
Learn it.
Yeah.
But then some people in their head, when they're not experienced, they come in and they go, well, if I can't win against these guys, how the hell am I supposed to win against these best in the Australia or the world or whatever? But that's the whole point.
Yeah.
I think we've got like, at the moment, we've got like a really good team. Like we've got a really good team around us and stuff. And it's just like bringing that outside perspective from yourself in as well. It just like clarifies everything we're doing right, you know?
And it's like I said, it's like I said, I come over here and it's like, you guys accept me as like, I'm not seeing Steve doing anything wrong. And Steve's not like, shit, I should have been doing this. It's not like I'm coming over here to be like, oh, that's stupid, he's fucking doing all this wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I was here, you should have come and do you know what I mean? It's not like that at all. That's not why I'm here. I'm like friends with everyone. Come over here and try to help. Like, I genuinely try to help. I genuinely care. I genuinely like everyone. I genuinely like being here. So there's no ego from my point of view to be like, I'm better than Steve or Steve's better than. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's not like that. It's like if I see like Steve's honest and genuine enough to be like, if I see something about his fighter, like she's what's her name? Shea was lifting her elbow on the thing, and I was like, she's lifting her elbow a little bit, but it wasn't like a put down to be like saying, you should have told her to fucking keep it. Do you know what I mean? It's like a
common goal.
It's just like, just like trying to be like, look.
I just want all the guys to get better. So if you can give some stuff,
and that's like a credit to yourself, because there's so many other gyms out there that wouldn't do anything like this.
Yeah.
So many people out there would criticize and be like, well, he's shit. He's not. I wouldn't like. Why would you do that? Because like.
I just don't see what's the point of being defensive and stuff, because like I'm not going to see everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I've got like a lot of years of experience, but then you've got like so much experience
But
as well. But you can see things different. Kev can see, James can see. And tell me, you know.
Yeah, you always got to be learning. You always got, and I see this to my guys too. Like Sam goes to Rob's gym, Ty's gym, trains with all them guys, and I'm like, you have to go out and experience. Like they're my guys, but they got to go out and train with all them other guys. You know what I mean? And then I'm a firm believer. I was a fighter myself, and I know what fighters think about, talk about, what fighters do. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So if you put that restriction on a fighter, then he'll be like, well, if I could have went and done this and sparred him, and he should have, well, fuck this guy. I'm fighting. I'm the one taking punches here. Yeah. So if you restrict someone to say, listen, this is how we do it here. You can't go anywhere else. I'm the best in the world. You're doubting yourself. You're full of shit.
It's literally the motto of the gym, though, isn't it? Like what the mural, like we are all one. Yeah. It's like same thing. Yeah. All one team, one vibe, like everything.
Just want to get better. I want to be better, because if you get better, then James gets better, and I get better. Like, everyone's just going to be rolling effect, because then the level goes up and up and up. That's what we're trying to do. Yeah. And then if everyone has that same goal,
that's just work in progress. That's just work in progress, and being able to stay like mellow, being able to like not let the highs get too high where you think you're better than everyone else, and not get the lows too low where you stop doing it. Yeah. And it's the same for a fighter. Yeah. Same if you win. You can't think you're the best in the world because you just come off this win, or you lose. You can't think you're the worst in the world because you just lost. It's just a part of the game. You are there, you fight. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose.
How do you deal with on that note? How do you deal with keeping your ego in check if you're experiencing a wicked high in your career, and then opposite end of that, how do you deal with setbacks from your career?
That's a hard question. I'm
pretty, quite a big question as well.
I'm pretty mellowed out, level. I don't have a lot of ups and downs. Do you know what I mean? As a person, not generally 9 to 5.
You don't let the highs get too high, and you don't.
I was never in this sport to be famous or be a celebrity or for money. Yeah. I was in this sport because I love fighting. Yeah. And I wanted to test myself against the best. Yeah. I wanted to see, growing up watching martial arts videos and doing martial arts as a kid, I wanted to see how I would do in a real fight. What would I do? I used to I reckon I could fight a bear. Do you know what I mean? I'll fight a bear. I mean, I love that shit. Do you know what I mean?
I'd take a bear.
Yeah. Did you?
I mean, it would be a koala bear.
A drop bear. Drop bear. Did you ever have any thought that you would coach at the end, or aspirations, or did you just fall into it?
I did. I never had any aspirations to be a coach.
Did you ever think
I always wanted to be involved in the sport. I never wanted to just finish fighting and leave.
Right.
I didn't want to commentate. I didn't want to be in front of the TV. I didn't want to. I always wanted. I knew I'd have a gym, but I was I never thought about the coaching. I never thought about it until my career got slapped in the face and it was done, and now I'm a coach.
So then, did that kind of happen? Just careers finish and then you found yourself coaching, or did you kind of have this point where you're I want to coach? And
it was kind of COVID was a big kick up the arse for us because it shut everyone down, everyone. And Jamie, we just getting Jamie in the UFC, and right up until we got Jamie in the UFC, I was still in the UFC. I came out of the UFC, and then Jamie just straight got in. So I was still training and fighting, and Jamie was just, at the time, he was just doing my training camps. Mm-hmm. So he was fighting on the domestic scene, cleaning up, doing great. But it was just
I'm just going to go under the table because the dogs got tied up, but you continue on.
So Jamie got signed. He was just doing my training camps. Yeah. And then COVID happened, everyone got shut down, and came out of COVID. I'd lost all the opportunities that I had for fighting. Kind of we got locked down in Australia, so the whole world got shut down. So I was planning on fighting in Brazil. I was planning on fighting back in England.
So when was your last fight?
19.
2019.
Yeah.
And where was it?
Liverpool. No, not Liverpool. London.
Oh, okay, yeah, right.
Yeah.
And you were going to keep going, but it just kind of didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was kind of like in my head. I was in my head. I was going like I was kind of like thinking like, oh yeah, I want to just box. I want to just like have a few boxing fights, maybe kickboxing fights. Just like stick to that. Yeah. I kind of like knew that MMA was coming to an end for us, and like I still don't want to do MMA. I really don't. I don't want to jump back in the cage and fight someone MMA.
What's the appeal to like boxing or kickboxing? As
Boxing and kickboxing, I feel like was the divide when I was. My parents always wanted us to box. My parents always wanted us to be a boxer because I was boxing all the way until I was 16, 17.
Yeah.
And I flipped the hat and was like, I'm doing MMA. And then that was like it's always been a what if. My mom always says, you should have boxed. You should have just fucking boxed. Like, even though I was fighting in the UFC, she was like, you should have just fucking been a boxer.
Wow,
you should have just boxed. And I'm like,
thanks, Mom.
Cheers, man. But like, my mom comes to all the fights. She loves the fight, and but she's always said, you should have just kept boxing. You were a great boxer. You should have just kept boxing. It was like it suited you down the day. You should stop everywhere. It was just, you know what I mean? Just like,
well, yeah.
And then every time, like all the highs, my mom would always be like, it was your boxing. It was your boxing. And then every time it was the lows, I was like, shit, I told you should have just kept your boxing. And I'm like, I know.
So you're thinking about having a crack?
I mean, I would love to. I mean, I'm not in shape, but I would definitely get in shape.
Jake Paul? Can we get Jake Paul on the phone?
But yeah, no, I would love to at least have another crack. I'm 40 this year. There's not many 40-year-old like retired UFC fighters. I mean, there's guys out there like the Masvidal Diaz is boxing, and I fought Masvidal. Do you know what I mean? And like they're doing it. So like I'm keen. I'm keen to get in and get it done.
Yeah, there seems to be probably a lot more opportunity now than there probably ever has been for that sort of thing.
Yeah, there's nothing here. Nothing in Australia.
Yeah.
It's all back in England, Saudi, America, and it's just like making that happen. It's not easy.
No,
it's not easy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But look at Darren Till.
Yeah, he's just got a fight. Yeah.
With
Junior
Chavez.
Yeah.
And it's what it's like 2 years since he fought in the UFC, and just getting that done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not 40 years old this year, so yeah, he's was he 30 this year?
Yeah,
But you just did say you're aging like a fine wine.
Yeah. Now, honestly, if I knew what I do now at 30, I really feel it would have been a game changer in the way that my mind works. Like my maturity in my mind, I feel like when I was 30, I was still thought I was 20.
Yeah.
Now, when I'm turning 40, I feel like
30.
And then I feel like my brain's a 40-year-old brain. Do you know what I mean? Like when I was 30, I was still 20.
Yeah.
Stupid, just doing stupid shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm still young. Do you know what I mean? But now I'm like, I don't feel old. I don't feel like I'm getting old. I'm still training every day. I'm still in with the boys. But like, I feel like I'm not as stupid as I was.
It's just so much. There's just so much to learn. Like now, like you were talking about coaching and stuff, and it's like all the science. If they do all this science, but at the end of the day, it's like you said, it's like everyone just seems to be so different. It's like it's been kept popping up a lot lately when I've been coaching. I'll say something to someone, and they're like, "Oh, but you said the complete opposite thing to that guy over there. I just overheard you say," and I go, "Yeah, but you're not that guy." Like. I'm going to say this all the time. I'm going to contradict myself so much. Like, that's what I've found. I'm just constantly a walking contradiction. Like, I'll say this to this person, and then this person here, I'm like, say something completely different. And it's like, it's that balancing act I'm trying to find. Like, sometimes I'll say something to someone, and then I'll leave the gym. I'll be like, going home, and I'm like, should I have said that to that guy? Was that the right thing to do? It's either gonna propel that person, or it could send them the other way, you know. And sometimes you just don't know, but you got to like kind of have that crack, and then like the more it goes along, you're gonna pick that easier. You're gonna know the right things to say to the right people, and
well, you're individualizing it, and that's like a sign of a good coach. You're not taking a one size fits all. Like, this is how you do this, and there's like no say about it.
Oh, but some people do that.
Yeah,
some
no,
people do that.
I was saying like if you're like, oh man, I contradicted myself. And I think it's like really good that like it is individualized. And like you said, Ross, the other day, like a good coach, I will make like a fighter like great. Like, do you know what I mean? As in like the things that they're like.
A good coach isn't someone that'll give someone something. A good coach is what can bring the best out of someone.
Yeah.
Do you know, a good coach can make someone do something great.
Yeah,
that's what a good coach is.
Yeah,
and
not just give them.
Not just give them. Oh, he's learn this armbar or learn this kick. Or make him do something great.
Yeah,
you're gonna add this to your quoting list.
Oh, 100%.
He's the quote guy.
I love my quotes.
We'll just take a quick break and we'll come straight back. And we're back in again here with Ross, James and Kevin. So we're talking about obviously coaching and the transition and stuff. I wouldn't mind talking about some of your fights you had before. What would you say your most memorable fight would be, Ross?
Most memorable fight for me, probably this George Robles.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was probably the most memorable, as in like I enjoyed it the most. I was the most concentrated, switched on, focused. Like, I was in kill mode.
Yeah.
No one was beating us that night, and it could have been anyone that night. And if I was fighting like that against anyone, I think I would have won. If I could have brought that every time, I would have had a.
So why do you reckon that was the case?
I don't know if it was just like the hype, the animosity between us two.
Yeah.
We don't like each other.
Yeah.
Like it felt real.
Yeah,
it felt like I was going into a
fight.
not like a life and death situation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he wanted to kill me and I wanted to kill him. And like the referee was there to pull us off.
Yeah.
I fully had it in my head like I wasn't stopping. Like, if I knock him out, I'm on top and I'm not stopping.
Yeah.
Like, the referee's got to jump in and pull us off. But I was like I was fired up like that, but I was just like so calm and so like just knew what was going to happen. Like, I didn't have any feelings like when I was warmed up and stuff and going into the fight, I didn't have any emotion. I was like stone cold, just dead. Like, didn't hear anything, didn't feel anything. Everything. It was just I've only had that like full, like, what's it called? Where you're like zoned in.
The flow state type thing. Yeah.
I've only had that like 2 or 3 times fighting, and that was one of them. I guess my arousal level of fighting was up and I was ready to kill, but my training was good, my concentration was good, my focus was good, and I just like zoned in, and I was like, it was kind of like an out of body experience.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, everything was happening, and I just knew what was happening. I was just like so focused and locked in. Like, everything he did, I was just like, just on, just ready to go, just had an answer for, didn't get hit, didn't like, yet the next day after the fight, like, I don't even think I had like a bruise on it. I was just like, just switched on.
Because you fought some like the big names in the UFC. How many fights did you have in the UFC?
I think I had like 20, 28, 29.
Which is like insane. That's like so many fights.
I think I'm in the top 10 with the most fights.
Yeah. Awesome. That's crazy. And then who would you say like you're the most scared to fight when you fought them?
I mean, the most scared I've ever been.
Or the one you like,
This is surprise. The most scared I've ever been was my debut in Manchester 105 against Aaron Riley.
Yeah.
That was the most scared I've ever been. Like, felt like I was going to shit my pants scared.
Yeah.
But it was just the fear of not succeeding, the fear of disappointment. I wasn't scared of him.
Yeah.
I wasn't scared of the fight. I wasn't scared of getting hurt. It was the fear of like the realization of like, because at that time I still didn't even think I was UFC level. I didn't even think I'd won the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
But it was all against that level guys. And then my first fight was Aaron Riley, who was a Pride veteran, had 10 fights in the UFC. So I was like shitting my pants. I was like, holy fuck, I'm fighting. And I didn't realize until later on in my UFC career when I'd fought all these guys that it's just another person.
Yeah.
At what stage did you realize, like, so you're saying you're like super nervous about like succeeding and not for the debut? Like, was that, you said later on in your career, was like a gradual process where you're starting to realize after like the success of the experience that like, no, I do belong here. I've almost proved it to myself in a way. Yeah,
it was a couple of fights in. Probably like maybe like, so who was first? There was Aaron Riley first. Then I fought Dennis Seaver.
Oh, Dennis, yeah.
He was number 1 in Europe at the time. I fought him and I beat him. Who else was after him? Shit, goes bad. Spencer Fisher.
Yeah,
Spencer Fisher here in Australia. That's when I met my wife. Then Barboza. I lost to Barboza.
Barboza's a scary guy.
Yeah,
very athletic, very explosive.
I was hyped up for him too. I was just like more. I was 25, 26 when I fought Edson, and he was a little bit younger.
Yeah,
and he was like the new guy on the scene. And I kind of like had a little chip on my shoulder, like, fuck this new guy. Do you know what I mean? And I was in his hometown. I was like, fuck this guy. I ain't letting him take this from me. Do you know what I mean? So I had like a bit of a attitude going in towards it, which did us good. Like, you got to have that, like, something what turns you on for the fight. Do you know what I mean? You don't want to go in there and be like, not wanting to try to hurt him. Do you know what I mean?
You got someone who's as fast as him. It's like a scary proposition.
He was by far the fastest fighter I've fought.
Yeah,
like, he wasn't the most powerfulest or strongest, but the fastest, as in like when he was throwing it and I seen it, I was lucky to have my hands up. And, do you know what I mean? Just like,
everyone talks about his like switch kick, especially like it's so quick. And do you know about
I just remember my coaches from back home, but even before even getting to the UFC, they were like, no one can kick you. If someone kicks you, you kick them back. You make sure you take that weapon off them. You make sure if he kicks you, you kick him back. Don't let him kick you. So then I just had that stuck in my head. I was just like, if he kicks me, I'm going to kick the fuck out. Do you know what I mean? Just that was my attitude for that fight. Next day after that fight, I was in bed and I woke up and I was like, don't touch us, Christy. Don't even touch us. She was like, I was like, go run us a hot bath. So I literally just like rolled out the bed and I was like crawling along the floor and I literally couldn't walk. I'm in this. I get myself in the hot bath and I'm lying there and I'm like, I'm fucked. And Eric and Dean and Christy were like, they wanted to go to see the what's it called, the Christ Redeemer.
Oh yeah, Christ
there. And I'm like, I can't do that. So anyway, I think Eric, Mexican, can speak a little bit of Portuguese because he speaks Spanish. We get a taxi to the chemist, and he speaks some Spanish to the chemist or the pharmacist over there. And he's like, and he recognized it. He's going, and he tells Eric, speaks to him, and tells him that he's sore, he needs something to. And he was like, the pharmacist was like, hey, come here. So he brings his it round the back, and not at the front, and he just opens a bottle, and he goes, you take them. Just give him 2 tablets. I was just like, fuck it. Took 2 tablets. I literally walked all the way up the thing. I don't know what. Yeah, I don't even know. I didn't know what he gave us, but no pain. I was so that was.
What's the like most banged up or like worst injury you've had from fighting? Not many.
Nah, I thought like a lot of people thought I was like just a brawler, but I was like a counter defensive fighter. I didn't really get hit a lot. I didn't really get hurt a lot.
Yeah.
Now, I've always had. I smashed my knee when I was 16, so that's always been a problem for us. I've had like 7 surgeries since 16.
Man.
So that's always been like the downfall of my.
What was the first injury then?
I tore my ACL.
Like training?
No, playing soccer, footy.
Right,
Yeah. Smashed it then. So that's always been an ongoing thing in my fighting career. But like injuries is just cuts and bruises and sore necks, sore backs, sore legs.
Yeah.
Nothing major, touch wood, that I've ever had.
Yeah, man. And then I think we did have a question. I know we went past it a little bit, like from the topic, but chatting about like Barbosa. I was thinking about stylistically. One of the questions that came in was about how much should you like look at your opponent or like look at their style, stalk what your opponent does, maybe like habits, sequences when they move, compared to like preparing for them.
I think it's a bit different from when you first started. Obviously, when there was no internet and stuff. when I was
I'm not
fighting.
that, I mean, I'm all. There was internet.
No, there wasn't as much. But so we often go on our Instagram. We say, "Oh, what questions you want to ask?" And everyone sends like a heap of questions through. But one of them was like, "How much should you really stalk your opponent and look at your opponent before you fight them, and then break them down and stuff?" What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, whatever it takes to get you in the mood that you want to go in there and fight this guy.
Yeah.
If it takes stalking him, if it takes watching every one of his fights, watching his highlight reel, if it takes whatever it takes, if you've got to take a personal way, you've got to put it into your head that you don't like this guy, you want to hurt this guy. If that's what it takes, that's what you got to do. Like, because you can't go into a fight and have nothing. Do you know what I mean? You've got to have that mixed level of like hyped, but also calm, focused, swithed on. It's such a crazy 15 minutes where anything can happen. You've got to be so switched on and ready for anything. So whatever it is that it takes you to get to that is what you got to do, and that's your job as a fighter to figure that out. And I figured it out a few times what it was. I was kind of like a little. I wasn't like super stalky or anything like that. I wasn't a weirdo or anything. But like, I definitely used to watch the fights. I definitely used to see like interviews and training clips and things like that. They were like fire us up, and it'd be like, especially if they said something what I didn't agree with, or like, I don't think your striking's that good, or I don't think you said something. I would be like, well, that would be an instant fuck you. I'm going to do this, and that fired us up, and that's what I guess took us to get to that level. What it took, and I just held on to them things through the training camp, like whether he said something, done something, whatever it was, that like fired us up to give us that motive. Because it's hard to fight someone like who you don't know. There's no reason to fight him other than money. And do you know what I mean?
How about like you said, it's a crazy 15 minutes. If you struggled with being like, oh, I'm so excited, I'm so pumped, I'm just ready to go for this fight, and then you're thinking, or even in the fight camp training, maybe the guy said something about your striking and you're using that to fire up. How do you go with like, oh, he said this thing, that's giving me motivation. I'm like, oh, I'm going to give you one for that. And now you're actually in the fight, and then you have to like control yourself and take it off a little bit. Is it ever
that's hard. It's hard to explain.
It's like I think
I guess I like the fact that I knew I was going to like fucking punch him in the face, or kick him in the face. I knew I always be like, I'm going to fucking get you. I'm going to get you with this. I'm going to get, if I get him with this, it's going to, you know what I mean? And I enjoyed that. Like, that's what I miss about fighting. That's what I miss about the purpose of like who I was as a fighter. As like, that's what like all fighters like. They enjoy the thrill. They enjoy the training. They enjoy the lifestyle. They enjoy whatever it is. The thing that I like miss about fighting is that like the competitiveness of like, oh, he thinks he's better than me, I think I'm better, I'm gonna smash this guy.
So challenge.
That challenge, and that's I guess that's what made us who I am. Because like, and that's one thing that I look back on. In some fights I performed, some fights I didn't perform, some fights I turned up and did great, some fights I fought shit. But not one guy I didn't fight.
Yeah.
Everyone I went in there, no matter how fit, how I should have been there, shouldn't have been there, I said, fuck it, fighting.
Yeah.
And that's like, I think that's what people like about, do you know what I mean? Like I tried, even if I was like, I shouldn't even have been in the UFC level of category of even fighting yet. I jumped in a fight too soon. I quit a fight.
Yeah.
I just got married, partying, his opponent pulled out, and I was like, I'll fucking do it. Stupid. Do you know what I mean? Like dangerous guy like Al. Yeah. And I was like, fuck it, I'll do it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Didn't have a training camp, should never have been in there. And I went in and I was like, I'm gonna get fucked up here. Do you know what I mean? I knew it in my head.
Yeah.
And then that cage door closed and I was like, fuck you, I'm gonna just fucking try for 5 minutes to kill him. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And then he stopped us in the second round, do you know what I mean? But I was just like, I shouldn't have been there, but I still just said, fuck it, let's have a fight.
We were talking about that before, having that mindset that of when you're in there, because I've had like obviously coached hundreds of guys now in fights, and then some of them, for whatever reason, the fight's not going their way, and they shut off, and you know like there's nothing's going to change because they've got the mindset of I've lost this fight. And you're trying to like do everything you can to get them back on track again. But you have to have that mindset to just like, I'm still going to win. It could be like the third round with 20 seconds left. You're still going for it, but you always had that.
Yeah, I think that was like one of my things. One of my things, no matter if I started good, like if I started good or I started bad, or if I was in a bad position, or if I was losing a round or whatever, I was always like, I'm still going to win. I'll find a way. I'm just gonna like. It
just hasn't come yet.
Yeah, like, I was like,
where do you think that came from? Is it from the training, or
I don't know where it came from. I guess it's very just like personal, like who I am.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, there's only fighting and martial arts that I was ever good at, and it's the only thing that I've ever been like super competitive at. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't care if I lose a footy game. I don't care if I lose a race running. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't care if I lose playing pool in the bar. I don't care. But like I care about fighting. And that's the only thing. I guess that's why I stuck with it. And I knew from such a young age that that's what I was going to do.
Yeah.
I knew when I was still at school, and I used to tell the teacher when I was at school and they kicked us out and everything, and I was like, I couldn't give a fuck. I'm going to be a fighter. And they were just like, you're going to be no one. You just like, they're putting us down.
Yeah.
And do you know what I mean? Like, I was just like, think what you want. I already know. And people ask us that now. And they're like, how did you do this? And I was like, honestly, I don't fucking know. I can't explain it. I can't tell you. I just knew what I was doing was right. And what I was doing was fighting. So, you know what I mean? And it's that was what separated us from everyone else who wanted to do the same thing, is that I was more committed, knowing that that's what I was going to do. And I took every opportunity, put myself into position. I took fights when I shouldn't have been taking fights. I fought people that I shouldn't have been fighting, just because I wanted that opportunity. I wanted it more than everyone else.
For you, it sounds like I really relate to that in the sense that like the thrill is like fighting, whatever, like in the actual fight, in the cage, in the training, that you're fighting, you're like challenging yourself, you're overcoming constantly, and that for me is a big thrill. Like I've lost fights, I've won fights, but even if you lose, like making that person work for like every second of it, and like knowing, I think it would be worse for me even if I won a fight, but I don't know if it was a fluke or if I kind of gave up on myself, or in the fight I kind of packed in my shit, I would feel like, despite the result, I'd feel terrible going home. Well, I wouldn't be able to sleep knowing that I like let myself down. But even if I lose, like, or I get knocked out, destroyed for like a full fight, if I know that I fought that entire time and like went for it and gave it my all, and I couldn't have asked myself anything outside of that, I think that's like the biggest thrill for me. It's like I know that I'm better off from that.
My old coach always used to say, I don't care what happens as long as you come out and everyone's healthy after the fight. But as long as you give you 100%, doesn't matter. Like, I'm proud of you, whatever you do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You putting yourself in this position to get here. You've done all this work. They've seen how like committed I was and how much I trained. The result doesn't matter. It's about like what you give.
Yeah.
And then when you go in there, and that's why I feel like I was in the UFC for so long. It wasn't because I was winning and losing and I was the world's best fighter. It was because the people that could relate to us that I just wouldn't quit.
Yeah.
I wouldn't stop. Like if I lost a fight, I'd come back, I'd win. And I just wouldn't stop. Do you know what I mean? And I think that was like one of my.
I think there's not a worse feeling when you do a fight and you think I had gas left in the tank, or like I didn't do certain things because I was just like holding back or whatever. You'd rather just go for it, and then whenever happens, you know. And it's having that mindset to do that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's letting it go with like having the coaches and the people that you trust, and the belief that what they're telling you is for the good, for the right. Do you know what I mean? Because there's coaches out there that say shit that shouldn't be said.
Yeah.
Which, you know what I mean? Having the right team around you, the right set of guys, telling you the right things, doing the right things, and got you back. Because you need that. You need that person in that 1 minute to say the right thing and do the right thing.
Yeah.
Could be whatever it is, they've got to say it. But that person, if it's the right person in there, he'll always know what to say.
Yeah.
He'll always know how to handle it, the situation. He'll never freeze. He'll never say the wrong thing. It'll always be the right thing. Do you know what I mean? And it's that. Like, I was lucky. I had Nigel growing up. I was lucky he was there to help us. And then when I got to the UFC, I was lucky I got Eric. And I think Eric was like the diamond in the dirt at the coaching. Like, he was such a good coach. And the fact like he had so many, I mean, he probably had like 25, 30 UFC guys at one time competing. Do you know what I mean? And that's a hard thing to do. Because every UFC fighter wants his time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's the
you know what I
problem.
mean? And you're a coach yourself. You know what I mean? You've got so many fighters, so many pros, so many amateurs, so many new up and comers, and everyone wants a piece of your time. But he did it on the elite world level. Me, Dom, Mike Chandler, Brandon Vera, Phil Davis, Joey Beltran, Travis Brown, Jeremy Stevens, Miles Jury, Justin Lawrence, KJ Noons, the list goes on. Alex Gustafsson, all the Swedes. The list goes on. Like I say, the Alliance was a good time. It was a good gym. So yeah, I was lucky to be a part of that, and I feel like all the things that I did myself from the Northeast to America is now like capped off to be over here and this part of my life, what I'm doing now.
You've got all that experience now to then put into your coaches, coaching into your fighters now.
But that's what I'm learning. That's what I want to learn. Like, that's what I know, all this thing from me, and that's how I did it. But like I said, as a coach, a good coach isn't just like me not telling him how to do it because that's how I did it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? A good coach is telling him how he does it because he's got to do it that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's all learning, isn't it? I mean, when I first started coaching like full time, I remember saying stuff in the corner where it was too much. I'd be telling them, like, you need to do this, 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 and this. And they were like, all right, I can't remember all that. And I just want to get everything that I could see over to them. And I realized I was saying too much. And I think I've got it down to like maybe the way I want to do it, like an art now of saying very simple things. This is what I need you to do. This is what he's doing. What you're going to do. And then get them to relay it back to me. And just that I want to just get, because you've only got a minute. It's not long at all.
Yeah.
So you just need to get that across to them, and it can't be too complicated. But at the beginning, I think I was saying too much right at the beginning. So now, it takes time. It takes time.
Interesting.
I feel that's the easiest part for me. That 15 minutes and the 2 1-minute rounds in between the rounds.
Yeah.
I feel that's the easiest to get across because that's like the realness. There's no lies, there's no hiding. You can't hide or fake that. Do you know what I mean? What I find harder is the 10, 12 weeks out in the preparation of figuring out what I've got to do, where I've got to, how is it going to, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the scheduling.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? The scheduling of everything and getting everyone organized, getting everyone right. How am I going to be week to week to where I've got to be to get everything right?
Yeah.
I feel that's what I struggle the hardest, because sometimes, like even when I was fighting myself, and it would be like, oh, I'm still like 10 weeks out. I'd be like, I might like slip up or drift off, or like, do you know what I mean? Like, there's a session here, dude. Just like where I wasn't, like, when it comes to like 4 or 6 weeks out, I'm like locked in, sold, done. I'm here. Do you know what I mean?
Dog's coming in now.
So yeah, I guess that the scheduling and the relationship, the relationship with coach and fighter.
Good catch.
Oh, he's jumping. No, he's not. He's got his foot.
I'll go around. Yeah, back in again. Got the dog under control. Got a new puppy, so
He needs some training.
yeah, he does. A bit of training. Sometimes pretty good and he sleeps, but then he just keeps going underneath and taking the wires out.
Yeah. Weren't you doing what, distance training or something?
Oh yeah. It was part of the trainers telling me to go a distance from dogs.
Yeah.
Where he doesn't go mental, and then see how far you go, and then you got to get closer and closer. Doesn't help that he's deaf, so yeah. So we were talking about our coaching, and obviously the different aspects of coaching and getting used to that, and then being in the corner and things like that. So you find the bit in the corner is the easiest part for you now, yeah? Because obviously you've been there so many times.
Yeah, I feel like in the corner when you're fighting, especially with my guys who I've got in the gym now going, that like I spend a lot of time with them, and I kind of like I've built that relationship with them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like I've got a lot of new kids.
Yeah.
That are in there fighting.
Yeah.
I've got kids now that I've had for like some for 5 years, some for 2 years. So like kind of like them that time of just building a relationship.
Yeah.
Like inside the gym is I'm their coach, they're listening to me, and then friendships outside.
Yeah.
And I feel like the better relationship that you have, fight at a coach, where you can see anything and there's no like restrictions, and the better, the easier it is to get them words out, words of wisdom, words of you have to do this. So because it's like it's a crucial minute of like trust.
Like you said, there's no faking it in fighting. Like the truth will come out. Anyway.
Oh yeah, if you're getting bashed.
Yeah.
And he comes out and you're like, good job, mate, you're doing great.
You do. I've even heard that on UFC. Sometimes you listen in the corner. I'm like, are these guys even watching this fight? This is not what you should be saying to them.
Yeah.
I love the Leon's coach, like firing him up, like firing him up that way, like because he knows Leon. He's with him day in, day out, and he knows what he's capable of. He knows what he can do, and he was getting that out of him.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying his coach won that fight because he didn't. He just brought that out of him.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that got him to do that.
Yeah.
He got him to do that.
Get him in that different state. Yeah.
Just like, because he looked like he was accepting getting beat. And his coach fired him up to be like, because sure Leon spoke about it, but it, like, how it looked to me in the fight, like when Leon was losing that, he was like just accepting the position, accepting that it was going to go the distance, and then his coach delivered
it was good,
amazing 60 seconds, right? And that, I don't know if it like what it did to him, but switched him on, fired him up, and then gave him that belief, or he just said, "Fuck it, let's do it." Do you know what I mean? Like, and that got it out of him.
But then he didn't even go out and like rush it. He was just like there, and he just like seemed to knew that it was going to happen. Like once he got back in that third, like that was, what round was it? The 5th round?
Yeah, it was lovely.
Yeah. And he was just like composed, and then it wasn't like I went out and went crazy. It was just like he just set it up, and then it was amazing.
Yeah, beautiful, and that's why you can never like what's the word? You can never kind of like predict. You can it's like maybe Usman kind of like settled in and relaxed a little bit. Not like he was happy he was going to go to 5.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So it was not like he wasn't pressing anymore. He was just, I'll just keep doing the same as what I'm doing. So he's in that just like, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, and he's just concentrated on that one thing. And then Leon come out in the 5th and switched it up and put it on him.
It does definitely come out. Like, there's been times where, like, I don't think there's been times where you've had, like try to get me fired up like that, like in a fight.
I think you're the opposite.
Yeah.
It's trying to sell you down.
There's been times though that like where you've like really like put my like, I don't know, my whole understanding just completely somewhere else, like in what you said as well. And it's like, it's weird, like, it's such an intense like thing, being in there in the moment, zoned in, guys in front of you, things happen fast, sometimes it's slow motion, and you're focusing on whatever's going on in your head at that time, like whether it's technique, something you're trying to do, come back, you've got that minute to speak to your coach. Like you said, the words that they say are like make or break. I genuinely believe that, because for myself, I'm all ears, like in the corner. I've even looked back sometimes and laughed at the way I like look at Steve, and I'm like trying to take in everything he has to say. And then I go out and just for an example, I remember the one time he asked me if I knew I was in an MMA fight after the first round, and I just kind of like, I was like, yeah, I'm in an MMA fight. And he was like, you haven't thrown one kick yet. And I was like, oh, okay. And he was like, yeah, you're in an MMA fight. And I was like, yeah, like, thanks. And that was it, right? Yeah. Went back out, started kicking, finished him in the round, like in the first 30 seconds. And it was like that one little thing, like Steve obviously knew, like, oh, Kev needs to like put these skills together. Yeah. Doesn't have all the time in the world to explain to me, oh, hey Kev, you keep looking for this one shot. Just say something like that.
Yeah, and that's the value of a good coach. Do you know what I mean? That's the value. That's what you're there for. That's what a coach is there for. That's his job.
I think it's just trying to take it out the state that you're in, because you're like in the fight, and I can see you're like, oh, and you're like arrived up, and then you're just looking for this right hand. The whole thing was the right, and I was like, this is an MMA fight. You did no grappling, you did no kicking. You're making this guy look a lot better than he is. Yeah. And then you just I said, you finish him this round if you go out and just start kicking, and then you finished him. Yeah. You're so close in. Like, to say to the guys, when you're in the fight, you're in the computer game, aren't you? We're outside playing again. We're watching. You can see so much more. You're far back from the cinema screen. Yes. You're like right in front of the cinema screen here. Yeah. Close. So then you can see all this stuff, and you go, oh yeah. I'm not doing that, am I? Yeah. Then you go out and you go, oh yeah, it's working.
I think I definitely want to get better. Like you're saying, being a good coach, like you guys, like of minds both for like James, you here as well. Thank you so much. Inspo for being a good coach. Like I've tried to like emulate things that I've experienced as a fighter from you, but I've realized like that whole individual like nature of each person. I've said to someone before, like you need to do this. This keeps happening, so you're going to do this. And they're looking at me, and I go, so what are you going to do? And then they've gone like, and then I realized, wait, you didn't retain that. Like, that was like one thing. I tried to do that whole thing, but learning to build that relationship with the fighters. Because, like, it's really interesting the dynamic I have as a coach and a fighter. Yeah. I'm, like, doing the fight camp with all the boys, like Frank, Ryan, them were training partners. Yeah. But then, like, when I flew over for Ryan's fight, like that was wicked. It was a really interesting experience, but I felt like that was amazing because the relationship between Ryan and I so close, like fighting all the time, like friends. That like when I could speak to him over there in the fight, it was really good. We could get through to each other really well. But in some of the guys that come in that you don't have that relationship with, they're trying to build that. It's a weird thing trying to figure out what do I need to do? Do I need to fire him up? Do I need to chill him out? Or
because some people you do need to fight. They're walking out and you're like, are you even going for a fight? You like look so chill, and you got to like get him going a little bit more. And other people are like, calm down, like just chill, breathe, you know. And then again, if you've got a relationship like you say where you grow with your fighters, then it's just so much easier to do that.
Yeah, you just know in the sense of like the person, their traits, their good traits, their bad traits. the mistakes to make, the things you need to, like, I always go, like, for me, my fight is that I feel like I'm there, like, not that I can do anything apart from see it do this to help them in the fight. So I always protect them first. It's always like, you fucking dropping your right hand, or he's going to hit you with this. If you don't do this, you're going to get caught with this. Do you know? So I always like, now if it's like, I always like protect them before I like find a finish. Do you know what I mean? If like,
no,
that's why I can help you. Like, I can help you by telling you your fucking chin's in the air. When you're throwing this punch, he's going to knock you out with this shot, or he's going to kick you with this, or he's going to do that. I feel I help guys like that better. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then seeing you got to do this. I feel like in the training camp, you work on it so much, and I said to the boys today or yesterday in training, like you have to practice what you're going to do when you're fighting this guy you're going to fight. You have to practice that. You have to visualize that. You have to see, if you want to get a submission, how you're going to get the fight to the floor. How are you going to get past his guard? How are you going to set this submission up? What you're going to do? You're going to punch me. You have to practice that. And you have to visualize and see it and train it and do it. So, like, doing something that you're in a fight camp that you're never going to use or never going to do is, I feel, it's not the best.
Yeah. It's outside of training.
It's outside of training.
Camp, yeah.
Right, so the training for the fight has to be
specific.
It has to be specific for the fight. What you're going to do.
Yeah.
Hands up, chin down. Starting with the basics, and then you go for right. When he does this, we've got this. Yeah. Pick out, start the things, set them as a goal, and then.
Do you think, like, say you get kids coming in and they're like, I'm going to be a UFC fighter, like a lot of them do. You know, I'm going to be in the UFC. Do you think you can see from like pretty early on, like not day dot, but like pretty early on, man, this guy's just there's no way this guy's going to make it, or do you think they can all make it, or you can tell some people?
I don't think all can make it. I think all has potential. Everyone has potential in some sort, but it's up to them to choose what they do with that.
And you can kind of see like early on, not straight away, but early on after little traits or things they do, you can go, this guy is just not going to get to where he thinks he's going to get to. Like maybe
I don't like.
Or you think he can change his?
I mean, I guess over a certain period of time you can. Yeah, like guys that are willing to listen and willing to learn. Them are the guys that you're going to be like, this guy's taking it on board, this guy's accepting it, this guy's trying, this guy's doing it, it's going to come, it's going to click.
Yeah.
It's the guys that make the same mistakes all the time. You tell them, you should do this.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it could be any mistake. It could be the guy doesn't go to bed and sleep, the guy drinks all weekend, the guy doesn't eat right. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't have to be the skill sets in the gym. The guy might train great. But like it's just the little things on the outside, because once you get to that elite level, everyone's sleeping in oxygen tent. Everyone's, do you know what I mean? Everyone's training 3 times a day. Everyone's resting, recovering. Everyone's eating, dieting. Everyone's elite. Yeah. So it's like the little things. Yeah. And if they're not listening from early on to you seeing you should do this, then how can you help them? How can you help them? How can you help them?
They still think they're like going to be the best ever, and you can just see like, man, it's just like, unless you make some drastic changes, it's not happening.
Yeah, it's going to be some. If they're not listening, I listened good in some things and listened bad in other things as a kid. But I feel like there wasn't in my generation, there wasn't someone like me here to sit down and talk and tell you how to do it. Yeah. There wasn't anyone in the UFC to tell, do you know what?
Yeah.
I didn't have that person who had made all the mistakes that I've made, who'd had all the fights that I've had. I was just going off what other fighters, boxers, kickboxers, Muay Thai guys, what them guys had done to put into my fighting.
Who did you look up to, or like who's like inspiration for you, like for your fighting career?
What in MMA, like as an MMA
Well,
fighter?
yeah, just even growing up.
Like growing up as a kid, it was always like the blood sport.
Yeah.
Junk Club, but
It's his favorite.
Yeah,
of all time. Love
Yeah.
it, love it.
like growing up in that, and it was like the Arnold Schwarzenegger movies, the Van Damme movies, the Steven Seagal movies. Just like I've always been excited and intrigued by violence.
Yeah.
I really have.
Absolutely, yeah.
I can relate to it. I can always I understand it. So like growing up as a kid, it was the martial arts. I always wanted to be like, it was crazy. I didn't even know, like when I was growing up as a kid, I didn't even know about MMA or mixed martial arts, but I was like, I want to be a black belt in every martial art. And like, that was what I told my parents. And then I went from taekwondo into judo, and then judo I got into boxing, and then boxing, I had a couple of Muay Thai fights, and then I got into MMA when I was 16.
Yeah.
So from 5 years old, I've been training martial arts my whole life.
Yeah.
Then by the time I was like 15, 16 years old, like I didn't even know how much I knew.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was 16-year-old, 60 kilos boxing, but I was just like smoking people. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, well, that would, like, I didn't even realize how good I was. Yeah. I didn't even realize. And then I started fighting MMA, and I got my ass kicked in MMA because I didn't know how to wrestle. I didn't know how to grapple. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I was like, I gotta fucking learn this.
Yeah.
I gotta learn this. And then I learned it from like 18, 19, 20, 21. I come back as started again. And then I think I went on from 21 to 23 when I signed with the UFC. I think I went on like maybe like 11, 12 fight win streak, and I signed with the UFC.
Right.
So yeah, it was like, I had all this background of like different traditional types of martial arts and boxing and stuff like that. And then I got involved in MMA, and it was just like, I got bashed. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. I'm not being used to that.
So you did like taekwondo and things like that, like younger as a kid. But then when you're saying from the grappling point of view, was that in the actual MMA gym? That's where you did your grappling?
Yeah. So I first started doing grappling.
Wrestling.
Grappling and wrestling at my coach's garage. And he literally hadn't any experience or background in grappling. He literally just loved UFC too, and he started huge. He was like super. He was like, everyone's got like a way of learning. Like some people are like physically hands-on learning. Yeah. Some people are like instructional learning, standing talking about it. Some people are visually watching it on the computer or the TV. Yeah. He could just sit and watch and learn and just be like, oh look, when he does this, yeah, we do that, and he would just like jot in his head, and we would literally go. This is when we used to get the Pride DVDs. Like the one you couldn't buy them. You had to like. I can't even remember.
Send away from it.
Yeah, send away from it.
What was the martial arts magazine?
Come through, and we get the Pride, and we're like, fuck yeah, let's go. So we'd all go around, and he'd like put the fights on, and be like, oh yeah, do you see that? See that anaconda? See that? That's an anaconda. And then he'd like rewind about, put it back, and he'd be like, let's go in the garage. And he'd be just like, if you get him in this and you get this, he's not getting out. You can't get out of this. It's impossible to get out of it.
That's so good.
So, and I was like 16 or 17. I was like, yeah. And I was like, just like trying to get on some other show. No one knew anything about it. And it's kind of like, I just kind of like developed super quick.
So that's like fun. Well, as in enjoying that, I feel like the amount of retention, all of those things are so cool. Like I am, the first gym I started training out of, my coach just like made his own little training facility in his like, it was like a farm shed next to his house. So my old coach's name was Colin Marr. He would train under like John Kavanagh. He trained with Conor McGregor and stuff at the time. So he grew up around them, but he just had his own little gym facility, and he had a couple of guys that would come out and just do stuff for the crack. And then that turned into, oh hey, like you should like charge people and like run a class. And then my mate was his younger brother. He's like, oh come out, went out and trained, and there'd be times where like it was just a bunch of us, a couple of lads. and it's not even like a class, but it's technically meant to be a class. Just watch fights and stuff, try and practice the techniques, and you end up getting, well, I found like we got really, really good, and no one knew who we were, no one knew the gym, where we came from, but it's just like when you have that kind of passion of those people around you, they're like, hey, can I try this? Let me drill this real quick. I used to love that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then you're getting all these little 1%ers, and then by the time you actually, figure out like, okay, hitting like proper training, getting all these like my grappling, my striking, and my kickboxing, mixing it all together, you're actually already like ahead. You know what I mean? From all of those. I think it's really, really, really cool. What from an elite, like saying being elite, doing all of the training, focusing on your recovery, your nutrition, did you do much strength and conditioning? Like
lots.
Yeah. What did your strength and conditioning look like?
So generally, we would periodize our strength camps. So I would do all my strength, like my PBs, my lifts, my squats, my press, my pulls. That would be outside of fight camp. Then I would do like a 4-week block of power endurance. So it would be like I'd still be doing my benches, but I would be doing inserting that with like jump squats, slams, just like to get to fire up, and then like finishing on like a little cardio burner. Do you know what I mean? But then at the very end of the camp, the last 4 weeks, that will be like the high intensity, short 3-5 minute rounds, like 15 second. Like you'd warm up, get stretched, do your normal bands, your rollouts, you stretch, you warm up, you get going. Yeah. And then you would hit your circuit, your lactic sessions. Do you know what I mean? That would be like your high intensity, like 4 weeks out before the fight. Yeah, interesting. So it would be like kind of strong, fit, fast. Yeah. But like you try to like meet, because you can't be the strongest you've ever been, the fittest you've ever been, the fastest you've ever been. Do you know what I mean? You can't match that. It's like it's near enough impossible. You retain the strength. But you retain the strength. As you get the fitness. So your strength's going to come down a little bit, but your fitness is going to go up. And then when you get sharp and fast as you got to, it's going to, do you know what I mean? You got to like try to like. So yeah, I had Barry Gibson from Grapple Fit pretty much my whole fight career. Pre-UFC all the way up to I still talk to him now. We still talk about shit, crazy shit we used to do. He sends us videos and stuff of like the stuff I used to do, and it was just like, yeah, you're crazy. I didn't like at the time. I just thought it was what everyone else did, but then looking back, it was just like, yeah, I went above and beyond in that area. To me, because I always felt that I was never, and now I felt like I was never the biggest, I was never the fastest, I was never the strongest, but like that was one area where I believe like I gained so much in my fighting from just that, from just the strength and conditioning alone, that made us better at all the other things. It made us, because I feel that I wasn't naturally the best athlete. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like I wasn't the fastest. I wasn't. Do you know what I mean? I was.
We can have all the skill and technique in the world. Like if you don't, you said that to me many times.
Yeah. Oh, there's been so many guys like Barry used to do it like often. He was just like, oh yeah, I'm bringing this guy in. We're going to smash him. Like not like me punching, fighting him, smash him, but like condition smash him. And it'd be like, see how far I can go. I'll be like, all right. And then it would be like to the point where I nearly pass out. I can't even remember going home. Like, we would smash each other that hard. Do you know what I mean? And he'd be just like, he's like, you're a fucking psycho. I'm just like, you telling us to do it. And he's like, that's why you're a psycho.
But it came across when you used to watch your fight as well. Like that style came across, that mindset and just that pushing all the time is really good.
Yeah, I don't know if I can give that to someone. I don't know if I can. I just that was my gift. Some people have, some guys one punch knockout power. Some guys amazing jiu-jitsu. Some guys like, do you know what I mean? I guess my talent was never quit, never stop. I always felt better. I always wish that the rounds was either just one round all the way through, or I wish it was longer rounds.
Yeah. Would have suited your style.
Yeah.
That's cool to be honest.
Well, we're going to have to round it up because we've gone for like a couple of hours there, wasn't it? Yeah, so that was really good.
Hours.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. With the disruptions of the dog taking everything out. But thanks for the chat. We've got you for another week. So we'll get as much training as possibly can in.
Yeah, I mean, thanks for having us out. I really do enjoy coming out, and I do enjoy being here. I wouldn't do it otherwise. I'm pretty straight up, and I would say it. But yeah, I enjoy being here. I'm glad I'm helping. This is the first podcast I've ever done.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I've done the one. I've spoke to people on the phone and stuff like that, but I've never.
You know, when it got the
Cage Chronicles. I was nervous. Like if I was on Joe Rogan.
yeah.
you might get the call up now for Joe Rogan.
That's right, exactly.
Easy.
Yeah.
All right, thanks Kev. Thanks, James.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys.
We'll see you later.